All right, today's training is about antecedent strategies, antecedent-based strategies. And when we think of the word antecedent, what are we thinking about? Before. Before what?
Before the situation or behavior.
Before a behavior, right? And that's exactly what we're thinking about when we're thinking about antecedent-based strategies. How many people had this training already?
Definitely reference the PowerPoint.
Okay. Well, welcome back, and welcome to all the newcomers. These are strategies we'd like to implement before behavior occurs, right? So these are strategies that are going to be helpful when we are working on maladaptive behaviors, and BSCs are writing a treatment plan, DSPs are working with VIPs on the floor. These are strategies that we could think about implementing for our VIPs, and these are strategies that happen before problem behaviors happen. So they come before, and you'll see everything that we're going to talk about today is before behaviors, The first thing I'd like to talk about is just kind of like the definition of an antecedent. An antecedent is an environmental stimuli that comes before behaviors occur. It evokes some behaviors, and it also abates other behaviors, which means it causes some behaviors to happen and also stops other behaviors from happening. And there's two components to the antecedent that we're going to talk about. We're going to skip some of these. Okay, so these are the two parts of an antecedent that we have to consider. And we talked a little bit last training about the SD, or discriminative stimuli, right? And this just signals that reinforcement's available. When I walk by a water fountain, what is that signal that's available? Reinforcement or water, right? So the water fountain signals to me that water is available. How about at the grocery store? Food's available, drinks available, right? All kind of stuff's available at the store. What about the McDonald's sign?
Or the Krispy Kreme sign.
The Krispy Kreme sign. That's more appropriate for breakfast, I guess.
Same thing.
Same thing. So when we think about the SD, we're thinking about those things in the environment that are going to evoke behavior, right? And they signal that reinforcement is available. When I see that bathroom sign, what is that signaling? The bathroom's available, right? So just that alone doesn't mean behaviors are going to happen, right? Just because we have, and there's signals all around us, and we ourselves should be SDs to our VIPs, that we are signaling reinforcement is available to our VIPs, because all the fun experiences we had with them in the past, all the joy we bring to their lives, right? So that we are that SD for our VIPs. But that's not enough, right? That's not why behaviors are occurring, right? That's kind of half of it. The other half of it is there's motivation for this activity or for this reinforcement. So I see the McDonald's sign that's lit up. I pass it on the road and that's the SD. Every time I drive by it, am I gonna pull into McDonald's just because that reinforcement's available? No. So the motivating operation needs to be in play too, right? So there's some kind of motivation for me to want to eat food, right? And the value of food should be very high when there's motivation for it. So when are times that I'm likely to pull into McDonald's?
When you're hungry or if you use that.
Yeah, when I'm hungry, right? So that's where the motivation comes in. Or you use the bathroom or whatever the case, right? McDonald's signals that all those things are available when they're open. So we have McDonald's being open. It's been a long time since we ate any food. There's a much higher likelihood that I'm going to pull into McDonald's. Does that make sense? And that's just a very clear example. Think about an escape maintain behavior. Right? And we could have a very difficult task that we're asking someone to complete. And because it's so difficult, so effortful, people may have problem behaviors to want to escape it because the value of escape is very high. And think about us. when we're faced with a difficult task or a long project that offers very little reinforcement? What behavior would adults likely have when we're faced with such a problem?
Skipping.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was it?
Distraction.
What was it?
Distraction.
Procrastination, right? And that's a behavior that we've been reinforced with all our whole life, right? When we're at that difficult task that we're putting off, we're likely to wait till that last second to do it. So there's a lot of motivation to want to escape. So these are the two components of an antecedent. And we can manipulate each one when we're working with our VIPs in order to make behaviors less likely or to make behaviors more likely. Thinking about our McDonald's example, what can I do to manipulate the environment for us to skip McDonald's?
Don't drive by it.
Okay, we could not drive by it. What else?
Do it at home.
Yeah, feed them before we go past McDonald's.
So we're talking about altering the motivation here. We're talking about satiating that food need at home before we go out. And what's a common thing you hear about grocery stores? Don't go there when?
Hungry.
Well, that could be the reason why, right? Because there's a lot of motivation to want to eat food. The value of food is very high as a form of reinforcement when we're hungry. So when we go to the grocery store, if we're hungry, it's much more likely we're going to purchase what kind of food?
Junk food.
Junk food, high caloric food that our brain is really craving in that moment, right? So that was a great way to change the motivation, to make behaviors less likely to occur. Go to the grocery store when you're full. Don't go there when you're hungry. How can we, thinking about the McDonald's example, alter the SD? If we had total control of McDonald's. Go ahead.
You like close it.
Yeah, shut off the lights,
Not
right?
available.
Not available. McDonald's is closed for
E.
remodeling.
coli or something.
Yeah. So doing that, even if you're hungry, and McDonald's is closed, are you likely to pull into McDonald's?
If they're closed.
No reinforcements available there. So you see, we can alter either one of these ideas to help stop problem behaviors from happening, or both. And when you could alter both, you're going to make behavior least likely to happen. Do you guys have any questions about these two ideas of antecedents? Does it make sense to you guys? All right, let's continue.
All right.
So up top here on this table, it's going to show the EO and the AO. And the EO means high motivation, and the AO means low motivation, we'll say. And then the SD and the S delta. The SD means that reinforcement's available, and SD means no reinforcement's available. Maybe there's an out of order sign on the bathroom. Maybe McDonald's is closed down, okay, for the day. And if we have the SD and the EO in place, it's going to cause behaviors to be much more likely to occur. When there's high motivation for food and the restaurant is open, we're much more likely to go and eat at that restaurant, right? If we change the SD to an S delta, the restaurant's closed, food's unavailable, we go to get a certain food, it's not available at the store, we have a maybe yes. And if we go and we eat food and we're not as hungry, maybe no. And if we could alter both of them, the store is closed and also we're full, it's going to cause behavior to be least likely to occur. So if we understand the motivation behind behaviors and we understand the SDs in the environment, we can manipulate one or both of these ideas to cause behaviors to be less likely to occur. Or use it to make behaviors more likely to occur. Why would we want more behaviors to occur? Go ahead.
Like if they're like pro-social or like the good behaviors, like good ones that we want to see happen again.
Yeah, what if we are teaching someone to request food? Right? Well, we would want to make sure that they're hungry in that moment. We would want to make sure that food's available in this moment so that we could see this good behavior that we're teaching, make it much more likely to occur.
Or even like hygiene.
Hygiene?
You want it most likely to occur.
Yeah, we want it most likely to occur. So what do we do, Sue?
What do you mean, what do we do?
What do we do? What would we change in the environment?
Get like maybe music that they like, play it in the bathroom, get them like dancing ready for the shower.
Love it. Very good. Very good. Yeah, awesome. Very nice. So yeah, so a lot of times when we're dealing with maladaptive behaviors, we're changing the SD and the motivation to be very low for these things. The value of the consequence is very low, so we can help stop problem behaviors from happening. In other cases, we want to put these in place because we want behaviors to be much more likely to happen. Okay? And we're going to get into strategies next that are all focused on before the behavior. And hopefully they make a lot of sense to you. And all of these strategies that we're going to review alter one or both of these ideas in some way. Okay, let's continue. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. There's some questions that are baked into this. All right, generic antecedent strategies. So many times we're going to pick strategies based on, and strategies in the whole treatment plan is based on what?
Function.
Yes, the function of the problem behavior, right? When we determine the function of a problem behavior, that's typically how we're going to dictate our interventions moving forward. These generic strategies are strategies that are good outside the function. They're good for everyone. They're good for everyone, not just people that are having escape maintained behaviors. So many times when I'm working on a behavior support plan, I will think about one of these areas that my VIP is lacking, and I'm going to include it in the general section of my antecedent strategies. When we talk about general antecedent strategies, or generic, or default, they're all the same, we are gonna think about these strategies. And these are only some. There's many more strategies that we can implement. These are just some of the more common strategies BCBAs think about when we're writing treatment plans. And again, these are not based on any function of behavior. They're good for everyone. Let's talk about them. These are a list of them, but we're gonna get right into it. Some generic antecedent interventions. The first one is environmental enrichment. Can we think about increasing stimulation, attention, access to tangibles and activities as a good strategy for everyone?
Definitely.
Right? Can we think about the opposite? If we have a poor environment, we don't have a lot of stimulation going on,
Not a lot of attention.
not a lot of attention,
Blank, boring bedrooms.
a blank, boring, nothing on the
No
walls.
music, just blah.
Yeah, the sun beating on you. I'm just kidding. Not that part.
Right.
What can we expect to see from our VIPs in that kind of environment?
Usually like positive behaviors, there's no demand, they're getting everything that they could want.
In the environmental enrichment?
Yeah.
Yes, right. Right. We are providing a lot of attention, which is a lot of times people have problem behaviors to get attention. If we're providing that attention right off the bat, continuously in this enriched environment, no need to have problem behaviors. We have tons of fun activities here. We have tons of enjoyable things to partake in. A lot less likely that we need to engage in challenging behaviors when we're having fun, right? And think about us. And not to say that we're having challenging behaviors, but we're having much better behaviors when we're enjoying the time around us. When we go bowling, when we go where? Where do we like to go?
Movie theater.
Movie theater, right? We crave this enriched environment, and so do our VIPs. Sometimes challenging behaviors could be occurring because there's not enough of enrichment going on in their environment. And we as clinicians would come in and recommend a more enriched environment. And I love your ideas about putting posters on the wall, making it personalized, playing music, access to awesome activities that they can engage in. Different activities, a variety of activities, right? Could be super impactful here. And this is gonna help stop challenging behaviors and could be included in your behavior support plan. That we're gonna recommend some kind of environmental enrichment in this problem behavior area. Make it more fun. And many times we offer this exact strategy to our folks. Let's continue. Antecedent exercise. Right? I mean, none of these should be super surprising to you guys to see. Right? So we have antecedent exercise. This person chooses to jog. It doesn't have to be jogging. It doesn't have to be super effortful. We get out, we enjoy nature for a half hour. And what I think about with my VIPs when I'm writing behavior support plans is 3 to 5 times a week, I'm gonna try to get them engaged in some kind of exercise there. It's good for their body, they're gonna feel good after they do it. They're gonna live a longer life, hopefully, and this kind of goes back to the enrichment too, live a more enriched life. So antecedent exercise is a great way to help with challenging behaviors. And we know how good we feel after we exercise. This isn't a surprise to see this here as an evidence-based strategy to help problem behaviors. You sleep better, you eat better. So this is a great strategy, and I like to think about, with all these strategies, individualizing them to my VIP, and that's getting to know them, building that relationship, and then dialing in this idea that's individualized to them. Relaxation exercise. I was like, does that say exercise thing? Relaxation exercise. Right? So here we're gonna practice what?
Deep breathing, meditation.
Calming stuff, right?
Sue's
And
really good at this.
Sue.
Yeah, she does yoga for them once a month.
Oh, I know. I love all
They
that.
love
And
it.
Sue also does, and how nice is yoga? It kind of combines the two strategies.
Yes.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Very nice. So this is a great way. Hey, we're going to practice deep breathing. We're going to practice meditation. And again, it's not what we want to do, even though we may want to do yoga, but it's what our VIPs want to do, right? It's what's cool to them. What do they want to find out about? Well, then I'm going to try to dial in this strategy that's individualized to them. Relaxation exercise. And I'm going to do this several times a week or daily. And I know some of my mentors, they tell me they wake up and super early in the morning and they do a meditation and it's really helped them. But it doesn't have to be those things. We could think of a million ways to relax and promote leisure time. And that would be a great strategy for our VIPs as well. All right, let's continue. Any questions so far? Cushioning antecedent predictors. Modify events that evoke problem behaviors is to abate the problem, make them less aversive. And Sue, you talked about this earlier. How can we make, we have folks that resist hygiene, right? That resist hygiene. They won't shower. We're asking them and they're going to put up a fight. They don't want to shower or something. So how can we cushion antecedent predictors to make that task more enjoyable?
Have their own little basket of their own stuff for them that's not for anybody else in their family or at program.
Yeah, have them purchase items to use in the shower. Hey, let's go shopping and you can pick out whatever shampoo you want. And I know, like for me, when I'm a bike rider, when I get something new for my bike, as soon as I get it from Amazon or wherever, I'm going out and I want to ride immediately. So great strategy that I might think about when I'm trying to make that adversive condition a little bit less adversive. So great example. And I don't want to get too much into function-based strategies, but we're asking someone to do something they might not want to do. What might be a good strategy to put in place to make that demand a little less aversive?
Could you help them with it?
I love that. You can help them with the task. And some of these are function-based strategies, but I still like to talk about them here. You can help them, provide assistance with the task. When I have help doing a task from a friend, I'm much more likely to engage in that task. Right? What's another way?
Step by
Look at the
step.
task analysis.
Oh, Diego's here.
Diego.
Hey, Diego.
Look at the task in linear steps.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Diego.
We could break the task into steps, like a task analysis or a set of directions. And we could teach them one step at a time. And I like to teach them the last step first. Why would I teach the last step first?
This is the most difficult.
Not always.
No?
No, I mean, is the last step of a task always the most
No.
difficult?
Because they're completing the task
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
positive reinforcement would be higher when they complete the task.
Yeah.
as opposed to the-
Yeah, when they're completing that task, as soon as we're done with that last step, they're contacting reinforcement. They're done with the task. We're learning to fill up a water bottle. We have them screw the lid on as the last step. Now they can enjoy the water. Now they can enjoy a drink, right? So, and they don't have to wait for us to do the rest of the steps. And then we slowly fade back and teach them 2 to 3 and then keep going back on the task analysis. So great example. Thank you, Diego. All right, let's continue. Guys, this is so huge for every single person in this room. And how many times do we walk in on a case or we go out to see a family in the parking lot to drop off a VIP or take them out to their car? And what happens?
He's been bad, he's been biting, he's been
Yes.
throwing stuff. And
We hear all about the bad stuff about our VIPs, potentially, right? Don't mention bad behavior in front of our VIPs. You're gonna cause it to be much more likely to happen if you do this, and you're hurting your relationship with the VIP. Don't mention bad behaviors. And honestly, on most treatment plans that I see for my people, this is like the #1 generic strategy in my treatment plan. Don't mention it. What are some ways that we could still talk about bad behaviors, just not in front of the VIP?
Ask to speak to them to the side.
Yes, privately, private
maybe
conversations.
Written. Like
Yes.
The behaviors that you saw.
Write it down. What else? Anything? Call them on the phone.
I had an example sort of come to my attention today. We tell the people when they take them out to the van, do not talk to the driver. If there's any issues with the clients, come to us first, Danielle or I, and then we have a relationship with a lot of the parents, so we would just, discuss it with them rather than bring it up in front of a van full of people. And a
Yes.
driver who's gonna go relay that to mom
And
when
then
there was no
it's-
need to, or,
Yeah. Bad look.
many reasons.
And that's a bad look for us.
Yes.
And also, and that what you set up is a perfect strategy here. And something that we should never do. And happens to BSCs all the time where we come into a case and they want to talk about bad behaviors. Write it down. Use the data collection. We're gonna talk about it privately. We're gonna do anything besides talk about bad behaviors in front of our VIPs. Now we may have VIPs that are working on challenging behaviors themselves and we're working more directly with them. And they're more open to do those kind of things. So of course, in that case, I would do that.
What if it's the caregivers that would be talking in front of the VIPs?
I would
And
ask.
I would try to avert and
Yes,
say like.
I try to redirect that conversation. I try to pull them aside. Hey, can I talk to you privately? Send them an email later, send them a text message later, or call them later. Hey, and even on the onset of service, it's a good idea when we start to meet someone and we have that declaration page. Maybe we should include some declaration page. That we're gonna outline that. Hey, we're not here to just unleash bad behaviors when I walk in. Write it down. And let's talk about it privately. Let's have another meeting where we have a phone call when the VIP is not around and we can talk about the problem behaviors then. Okay, don't mention them in front of our VIPs. Medical treatment. Many times with our folks, we are dealing with medical problems that we may think are due to operant behavior. And many times we're trying to rule out this. Right? So when we come onto a case, I don't suspect when I see a problem behavior immediately that it's solely because of environmental contingencies causing a bad behavior. My first thought is always, when was the last time they saw a doctor? When was the last time they had a physical? Teeth, ears, throat, GI. All these issues that can cause great discomfort. And we mentioned poor hygiene. People aren't brushing that well. Do they have a problem with their tooth that they can't express to us? I can't be an expert in that as well as behavior. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm not. Right? So I need to refer to the outside person. I need to say, hey, let's get this person in front of a doctor. Let's get this person a physical. Let's get this person some medical assistance here, evaluation here, so that we can determine what is going on. Because problem behaviors, think about us. When we have discomfort going on, do we have our best behavior with our spouses? And no. We're miserable. And is that what's going on with our VIPs who have trouble communicating pain and discomfort?
Very possible.
It's very possible. We have to rule this out before we delve into a behavioral support plan. So guys, I implore you, think about this for yourself. When there's problem behaviors going on the floor, and we're not sure what's going on, our first thought always should be medical treatment. Has this person seen a doctor? Do they have something going on that just started? We need to rule this out. We need to give this person relief. Right? We need to help this person find the right doctor. You guys have any questions about any of this so far? Do any of these ideas not make sense? All right, let's continue, please. So non-contingent restraints and protective equipment, which we wouldn't normally do, but we have done it. If you guys remember Angela that came to program, we used, she was someone who gouged her skin, and we used arm protections to keep her arms straight that she would choose to use. She would like to use it. And we recommended, and we got approved by the Human Rights Committee, restraints to help prevent this behavior from happening. And the idea is we want to fade these restraints away by cutting them. That's how we did this. We cut them to be smaller over time until we faded them out. But this could be an idea too to help problem behaviors. Not always. Very rarely would we consider using anything like this, but we have in the past. And a lot of times those kind of things are reinforcing to our individuals. That deep pressure, that struggle is usually reinforcing to our individuals. So we have to be very careful using any types of restraints. Let's continue, please. Okay, they are some generic antecedent strategies. They're not based on function, so they're good for everyone. If I notice one of my VIPs is lacking in this area, I'm going to recommend it in my behavior support plan. I'm going to recommend it to the stakeholders involved. I'm going to recommend that they get some of what we just went over. From exercise to medical treatment, to relaxation exercises, to environmental enrichment, all of those strategies are good for everyone. They're good for all of us. So we would recommend them, especially if we see them lacking in our VIPs. When I'm writing my behavior support plan, I am going to this training and I'm going through each strategy and I'm going to take it and put it in my treatment plan, individualized to my VIP. Okay, I encourage everyone to do the same exact thing. When they're writing their behavior support plan, look at these strategies. Don't try to remember this training. Okay, let's continue. So guys, these are the strategies that are based on function. So it's really important. Okay. So when I'm writing my behavior support plan, I need to know when I start to use these strategies, what is the function or purpose of this problem behavior before I can implement them. Does anyone know what the most common function is for problem behavior? Escape. That is the most common function for problem behavior. That we have learned throughout our whole lives how to escape things we don't want to do. All of us, right? It's the most common function for problem behaviors. And I don't want to pigeonhole your thinking, but a lot of times I'm thinking when I encounter a problem behavior, my first thought is this to escape what we're asking this person to do? And just because it doesn't seem effortful to me, doesn't mean it's not effortful for my VIP to complete. So I need to really delve and put myself in their shoes to see exactly if what we're asking to do is too difficult for them. There's not enough motivation, not enough, what, Brandon? Reinforcement.
Thank you.
Demand is, and when we see problem behaviors, what I think about is just simply this. The demand is too high and the reinforcement is too low. And that is why we're seeing problem behaviors. So I can make that demand super easy. I could do a lot of manipulation with that. And I could also increase the reinforcement. And then I'm much more likely to see behaviors occur. Demand is too high, reinforcement's too low, and I'm seeing problem behaviors. But anyway, here's the function-based strategies. And these are strategies to implement when we know the function. The first set of strategies, let's continue, are for escape and avoidance. And no surprise, there are the most strategies for escape avoidance behaviors than any other problem behavior. Because it's the most commonly occurring problem behavior function. So there's the most research done about these problem behaviors. So let's get into it. Stimulus fading in, gradually reintroducing a task or demand in duration or frequency. How could we do that?
If they had a math worksheet of 20 problems, you might break it down into sets of 5.
Okay, yeah, make it easier for our VIPs to accomplish. What about hygiene?
Start with one of the tasks.
Step by step.
Yeah, step by step. Start with one of the tasks, like we talked about a little bit already. Hey, we're gonna start with exercising. Do we start running that marathon?
No.
Where do we start?
The last.
Stretching. I love that. I love that. So good. Start with the stretching. That's all we're gonna do today is just stretch out. That's all we're gonna do. And we're gonna slowly build into it. If we start off expecting our VIPs to have mastered a behavior right off the bat, we're gonna set everyone up for failure. Start with taking these small steps and then fading into the final goal over time. And let data be your guide. Stimulus fading in. All right, let's continue. Graduated exposure. And guys, we've heard this. I'm sure everyone in this room has heard exposure therapy. Right? We have a phobia, we have a fear. What are we gonna do? We're gonna expose our VIPs to those contingencies. How might we do that? Dentist office comes to mind. And this gets back to the medical treatment.
You could purchase like dental tools online and like show them like, these aren't gonna hurt you, like so they're kind of familiar with what's gonna be around them.
I love that.
Thanks.
Set up that doctor's office right in the safety of their home. Right? Go ahead.
We had, Liv, she was afraid, we were always at Mohegan at the horse races because my husband had horses. She absolutely hated it. There was too much stimuli, too overwhelming for her. So we started off just by driving by. Then we'd drive in the parking lot and drive by the door. Then we'd stop by the door. Then we'd get out. Like we had so many steps. And eventually she got there, and eventually she got her picture in the winner's circle.
So good.
That didn't happen often with the winner's circle, but she got to where she was comfortable that it was no big deal.
I love that.
But
And
it took forever.
And how nice that reinforcement occurred then. She went and then was in the winner's circle and it was super enjoyable and reinforcing. Now that behavior is maintained.
Yeah.
No longer are you going to probably have that struggle to go.
There was food there too.
That's a big
and
one.
all kinds of stuff.
So super important. Go ahead.
I think it's important to note that with this one, you need to have a lot of patience. Like Jen said, it took a long time to get her there. So you need to be aware that it's going to take time and have the patience to follow through with it.
Yes. And a lot of these strategies working with adults have that same feature.
Mhm.
That it's gonna take a lot of time. It's not gonna be something we implement and it's magically done, we're fine. These strategies are constantly being reworked, reevaluated. I mean, I might have thought that this is a good starting place and I'm still seeing problem behaviors. So I need to dial it back even more, right? And one of the strategies here, guys, that ABA clinicians like to use is relaxation training before the exposure. So we're gonna practice some kind of relaxation skill before we start the exposure therapy. We're gonna set them up as calm as possible at first. Go ahead.
You could also make sure that, like, if they have fidgets or some type of sensory item, that would
Gotcha.
help as well. Make sure they have it on them, so that if they do start to get overstimulated, you already have that coping skill right with them.
Yeah, very good. Very nice. Yeah, and I might start off with pictures. I might play sounds of what they can expect in that environment first. Might show them pictures. I might set up a doctor's office in the safety of my home. Or their home. Not my home, their home.
Different sense for the hygiene.
Different sense, I love that.
Calming sense.
Very good. So I'm slowly going to expose them to something they have a phobia of and make it more enjoyable, more fun. All right, let's continue. Curricular instruction revision. So we're going to, some ways, and guys, what I do with this one is I go through these because these are very good here. And these are some ideas that we talked about already. We're going to alter the timing of the event. We're going to embed demands within reinforcing activities. So someone's very upset when we give them any kind of direction or demand. I could get them more used to accepting a demand from me when we're doing something fun. I could say, we're out to eat. Hey, pass me that napkin. Pass me the ketchup. And I'm kind of embed these demands in reinforcing activities. Hey, let's go pick me out a bowling ball, right? So I can embed these demands in these reinforcing activities to make them much more likely to occur. Provide assistance, Brandon mentioned earlier. Providing assistance for a difficult task makes it easier. Much more likely our VIPs would be involved in that idea. Increase predictability. Hey, in 5 minutes, we're gonna transition to the art room. We're gonna transition to the community. I'm gonna let them know what's upcoming. Curricular revisions, we talked about it a bit. Make those tasks a little bit easier, maybe only do one problem instead of 30, for instance. And modify features of the task to make them more enjoyable. And like we can modify features of the task by making them more personalized. Putting fun items or activities or preferred things on this task we're asking them to do. And we can modify the features in so many ways. All right, let's continue. Provide choices. Provide choices about the time, the color, the type, the order. Providing choices is a go-to strategy for escape-maintain behaviors. Hey, when do you want to take that shower? In the morning or at night? What other ways could we provide choices?
Do you want an apple or a donut?
Do you want an apple or a donut? I mean, we know what we want.
Right.
You can do different colors of apples.
Okay, different colors of apples.
Like if you want them to eat the apple, and then they just get to choose, so they still get an option, you still get them to eat the healthy thing.
Yeah, we're trying to get someone to wash their hands. There's 2 sinks. Hey, pick a sink you like. Right? I mean, it's these easy, simple strategies, guys, that are going to work for you. Right? Providing choices is huge. Instead of giving that direct demand, we're going to give those choices. Hey, we have homework to do with your kiddos at home, maybe. Do you want to start with English or math? Right? I talk so much about this idea, guys, in my work. Someone that is having problem behaviors to escape a task, this is a great idea to put into their schedule. Time contingent escape. And you've maybe heard the term non-contingent reinforcement. Have you guys? I know there's a DSP training soon, if it didn't already happen, about non-contingent reinforcement. This is the new term for non-contingent reinforcement. It's called time schedules, time contingent schedules. And the idea behind this is we're going to give this person a break on a schedule. If they have problem behaviors every hour of doing this task, I'm gonna give them a break every 45 minutes. Right? I'm gonna give them a break throughout the day constantly. So there's no behavior needed to get a break. Right? I'm going to give that break throughout the day. And you'll notice that every function has this same strategy. It's just we're delivering the consequence or the function for the behaviors that we're dealing with. We have problem behaviors to escape. I'm going to give them their escape, not requirement of any behavior. And what effect will that have on behavior? If we're very thirsty and we sit down at the restaurant and the waitress brings us water, are we going to ask the waitress for water? If you need a break and I come to you and I say, hey, take a break. It's your break time. Take a break. Are you going to then ask me to take a break? And guys, I wanted to put it in that simply because that is exactly what we're doing here. We're giving this person a break, non-contingent on any behavior, no problem behavior needed. So if someone's having a problem behavior to gain access to a break, a good strategy right off the bat is just give them a break throughout the day before problem, and it doesn't have to be before problem behaviors occur, but it should be. We're gonna get ahead of the behavior. We're gonna give them a break before they really need one. Does anyone have any questions on this idea? And we're gonna talk about it 3 more times. Relocate the client or others. And usually this happens in a classroom. I remember my best friend was in my class and we would mess around and cause trouble. What did my teacher do?
We separate you.
Yeah, I just sit in the front, he sat in the back or whatever. Then after a while we were like in different home rooms. It was horrible what they did to us. Okay, that's just an idea of client or activities even. Let's continue. Move location of activities, same idea, right? We have an activity that's in that environment. I'm going to move it, get rid of it, right? And what I'm doing there is moving the SD. I'm getting rid of the SD. Okay, those are some strategies for escape, maintain behaviors. Now we have attention. So we have problem behaviors that are leading to a lot of attention. These are some antecedent strategies that can help treat this problem. So the same idea with escape. This person likes a certain type of attention. They engage in behaviors, problem behaviors to get our attention. So what am I gonna do here?
Deliver attention.
Deliver attention. What kind of attention am I going to deliver on this time schedule? High quality, but what kind? Thinking individualized. Preferred. What does that mean?
They like stuff that they like to enjoy, like iPad time.
So typically what I do is I collect ABC data. And I look to see what's in the consequence section. And if this is the kind of attention that they like. This is the kind of attention that's maintaining their problem behavior. Well, now I'm going to deliver it on this time-based schedule. I'm going to deliver the exact attention that's maintaining a problem behavior for just on that time-based schedule. And it's going to suppress those problem behaviors. It's going to make them a lot less likely to occur. Just like my water example. When I'm given water, I'm not asking for water. I'm not engaging in problem behaviors to get water. If I'm getting attention throughout the day, the attention I like, I'm much less likely to have problem behaviors to get attention. All right, let's continue. Transfer discriminative control to natural SDs for attention. Here we have a simple example of teaching someone the proper ways to get attention, right? Fist bump, those kind of things. We're gonna teach someone. Diego, I know, taught someone to tap someone on the shoulder to get attention instead of kicking or other problem behaviors. So we can now teach them transfer the discriminative control to a natural SD for attention. All right. So those are two or three strategies, I think 2 only, for attention that we might put in a behavior support plan. So now we have strategies for tangible or activities, getting access to things. And guys, the same idea. We're gonna give them the stuff they really like on that time-based schedule. We're gonna keep delivering this item on that time-based schedule because it's gonna suppress that behavior. It's gonna suppress problem behaviors that led to getting these things in the past. Here we have a robot. We know that this person engages in problem behaviors to get access to the robot. So we're gonna deliver that robot on that time-based schedule. Okay, let's continue. And that's it for tangible. And then we have automatic reinforced behaviors. We're gonna give them stuff that's gonna help satiate that stimulus that they enjoy, right? We know people that enjoy hand flapping and those kind of things, and we know they love their fidgets. They love having these items. It's really important to them. So we're gonna make sure that they have those available throughout the day. And I could go off on this one for a little bit, but I won't. Time contingent delivery of prescription drugs. Many times we see people getting PRNs, right? They'll be like, if this person engages in a problem behavior, give a PRN. What's the problem with that? If you guys have to leave, please leave. You guys don't know.
The person who's deciding what is the problem behavior, and it's not gonna be us, it's gonna be like parents.
So subjective.
Yeah.
Right? It's so subjective, right? So what are some other problems with this?
We had a VIP, oh, I'm sorry, we talking.
Go ahead, whoever. You guys can all go.
There was a VIP downstairs, every time they would engage in problem behavior, they would receive medication that would kind of like sedate them, so it seemed like they would almost do the problem behavior and then quote unquote be rewarded with medicine, so like they just reinforced it.
And I don't like to think about it rewarding necessarily, but I like to think, hey, if I have trouble communicating when I'm in pain or discomfort, and I engage in a problem behavior, and then I'm provided relief in the form of medication, what am I likely to do in the future? Continue those problem behaviors, because I'm likely to get access to meds. And a lot of times these meds aren't like a Tylenol. Sometimes they are. They're what?
Psychotropic.
They're medicines that are highly reinforcing to our brains, right? So now I've learned a way to gain access to medications that are going to give me a certain feeling that I enjoy. And it's through the use of a problem behavior. And what happens? We're like, oh, the person calmed down, they relax. We're much more likely to use those pills in the future too for these people. When I notice that one of my VIPs that I'm servicing is on a PRN for psychotropic medications or any type of medication, I recommend to talk to the doctor about doing what?
An actual prescription.
What was that?
I said placebo.
I'm not talking to the doctor about that.
Specific times that you're supposed to give them.
Yes, I'm going to encourage that doctor to now prescribe it at certain times of the day. Just like our time-based schedules that we've talked a lot about. I'm going to make sure that they're getting that medication if it's effective for them at 8 o'clock every day, if that's what's going to be the doctor recommends. I'm going to work with the doctor. Think about constipation, which is one of our fatal fives. Are we only going to provide relief when we notice this person is constipated after days and days of them suffering and having problem behaviors?
You missed the mark there.
Yeah, we need to give this every day. We need to give this Metamucil every day with doctor's approval. And what you're doing is you're helping stop the reinforcement of a problem behavior getting access to medication.
We do that with, with Bradley, he's supposed to get his medicine at 2, but it's the window 1, 2, 3. But for a while, he was starting to escalate shortly after 1, so we started giving it to him closer to 1 o'clock to try to avoid that, rather than waiting until.
Good. Yeah, and in my opinion, that these PRNs are very dangerous. They should be prescribed on this time-based schedule. Of course, talk to the doctor. We can't make those decisions. Talk to the doctor. The doctor could override us, so be it. You know, it's the doctor's choice, not ours. But this is just an idea that can cause us behavioral harm if we continue. You guys have any questions about this? All right, let's continue. Okay, we could fade restraints, of course. Let's continue. We don't really use those. And those are the strategies, guys. We are altering the SD, we're altering the MO in order to make problem behaviors less likely. And many times that's not the whole behavior support plan. These are just a small piece of our behavior support plan that we're going to put strategies in before behaviors occur. There's much more to a behavior support plan, like what? Personalization. Teaching what?
Skills.
An alternative skill that competes with the problem behavior. And these are only helpful ways to get us there. But our main goal is to teach skills that will lead to the same function for their problem behavior. And that is our goal in any behavior support plan, any good behavior support plan. These are strategies that we could put in the plan when we deem necessary because they could be very helpful to our work. Do you guys have any questions about any of these strategies or have any stories about antecedents and how they can be helpful?
That was
It's
Ryan.
gonna be a great day.
Yeah, that was Ryan.
That was Ryan.
As soon as you said that.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, I hope Ryan's gonna come hopefully soon with my behavioral plan that I had for home, because this is what I had questions about yesterday, so.
I hope it was helpful.
Yes, it was very helpful.
And guys, this PowerPoint's on Teams and we can get the DSPs, the PowerPoint. Refer to it. I look at it all the time. When I'm writing a behavior support plan, when I'm working with a client, I'm going back to this training and I am looking at the strategies myself and thinking about ways I can individualize them to that person. I am noticing when one of these things is absent that they could benefit their life. And it's nothing complicated. Exercise. What are some other examples that aren't included on this training when we think about generic strategies?
Maintain consistency, daily routine.
Okay, yeah, I love that, daily routine. What about nutrition?
That's good. Well, hydration.
Hydration, sleep,
Yeah,
right? There's so many generic strategies that we didn't talk about here that could be included and could be a problem. We had someone on the floor recently who has sleep apnea, was having extreme problem behaviors. You guys know who I'm talking about. And we did a little assessment, found out a bunch of things that we thought might be going on. One thing that we zeroed in on was having trouble sleeping at night. Sleep apnea, waking up, mask falling off, uncomfortable, waking up throughout the night, being up all night. This person's miserable. And we're gonna expect them to have their best behavior. Would we?
No.
If we were up all night? Far from it.
right.
Far from it. So sometimes our work's in figuring out why someone's having a problem behavior, and we have to go through the list of these potential problems, find out what's going on, and help them. And a lot of times, it's pulling in these outside experts. Hey, is there another pill that could help with sleep apnea? Is there another mask? Is there a different type of something, a mattress we could use? Could we do some movement activities or relaxation before we lay down? I don't know, but I'm gonna try to think about these strategies when I'm helping the person get back on track. Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you so much for your attention. I'll see you next week.